I know that God sang this universe into existence. Don't you know that? That's how it happened. Yes, in the beginning was the Word. Oh, I know, you can do it in Greek. All right. Enarche and holokos, in the beginning was the Word, but it wasn't just spoken. I know it was sung into existence. And these people, so many, and many more of you too, are so talented because you're just letting God be God in you. Thank you. I want to speak a bit to yesterday and today because this entire weekend we're still celebrating our 25th anniversary. How many were there last night? Yay! It was so wonderful. And I do swear, those two little girls who didn't come in today are still dancing. The last I saw them, they were still dancing. So it was so beautiful to gather together. We even have someone I had not met before last night who was an early board president of yours. Rich, stand up and let's acknowledge you. And daughter Shannon, who was a teen, and now she's all grown up. So it was quite wonderful. And although neither Reverend Gwen nor Dr. Bob were able to join us in person, they each sent letters, and guess what else they sent? Flowers. This one was with us last night from Reverend Gwen, and this one came today from Dr. Bob. And they're just alike, just like Reverend Gwen and Dr. Bob were, right? And I'm going to go ahead and read the letters that they sent to us that I read last night. Can you stand to hear them twice? Or once if you weren't there? Good. They're beautiful. This is from Reverend Gwen Gillespie. Dearest CSL, forever one in spirit. Does one call an organization dearest? Yes, because the Greater Philadelphia Center for Spiritual Living is dearest in all our hearts. I recall the day we actually began, that of April 12, 1992, in the lower level of the Methodist Church in Philadelphia, where a soup kitchen was held. We moved to a hotel, the Du Portal House in Wayne, and then to the Masonic in Paoli. Remember that, anybody? And on to various locations with other ministers. Indeed, this is evidence of the process of creativity unfolding. You, all, the founding members and subsequent members, are of one family holding the vision and intention of our Signs of Mind teaching, that of the revelation of the self to the self. The game of life can be baffling. This is verbatim. Yet, as our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, guides, it is for us to discover and to use as we step into the inner revelation on pathways of new experience. I know with you the continuance of spiritual understanding that awakens and frees us for personal and global transformation. Yes, we are a world that works for everyone. Happy 25th anniversary. I love you. Love is the power. Reverend Dr. Gwen Gillespie. Then, from Dr. Bob Dean, dear beloved friends and members of the Greater Philadelphia Center for Spiritual Living, it is amazing that it is 5 years since we celebrated our 20th anniversary together. Much has changed in our lives, and much has changed in the world since then. As a community of light and love and truth, you are a beacon of what the human experience is designed to be. We're designed for freedom, love, wisdom, and joy. You remain an example for the rest of the organization of how important and wonderful medium-sized centers are to the world. It is not the number of members or the size of the budget that counts. It is the size of your hearts and the power of your sustaining thought that comes first. You have those qualities pressed down and running over, as they say. I count it a privilege to have spent 10 years of my life with you. Together we learned how to be a different kind of center, one where everybody's thoughts and gifts matter, one where the value of individuals overpowered the structure and habits of organization, granted sometimes with more chaos than was comfortable. It was a time of learning and growth for me into a clearer thinking, more integrated, heart-directed leader, and a joyful adventure. I could never thank you enough for your love and support over those years. Now here you are, 25 years old. Congratulations on the growth and depth you've attained, for continuing to hold strong to our teaching and your contribution changing lives in the world. I celebrate and honor you wishing you a happy birthday and an amazing next 25 years. You will always be beloved to me. Blessings always, Robert A. Dean III, D.D. Isn't that sweet? Isn't that wonderful to have that sense of continuity? Besides that, you really party well. Okay, so we're continuing with the theme of October, which is prosperity, abundance, and wealth. And you seemed to like that last week. Shall we continue with it? Yes, for the whole month. And today's topic is letting go of the former, inviting the new. We, when I say we, I mean quite a few of us in our class, Tuesday night class, The Art of Abundance, that is based on Dr. Dennis Merritt Jones' book of the same name. We have been discovering beautiful laws of this universe that we knew, and yet he is such a master at helping us learn how to implement them in new ways and to come from a place of purpose and meaning and let the abundance come from the very wellspring of our own hearts that are so connected with the infinite. And so this quote today is from his book. Being in the flow denotes the degree to which we consciously allow energy to pass through our lives. An affluent life is one that is operating within the law of circulation. Affluent, flowing with. I love that word. How about saying with me, I am affluent. I am affluent. Doesn't that feel good? Everything flows. Lao Tzu, over 6,000 years ago, said, everything is healthy that flows with the universe. Everything is not healthy that does not. So it's a natural, universal law. Everything circulates. You watch the sea. You watch the ebb and the flow of the ocean. You breathe in, you breathe out. Everything circulates. Look at the leaves falling off the trees right now. And as I mentioned earlier, I think last week, I have... Is that me? No, that was spirit. Okay. I'm doing my best. I have never yet met a tree that was about to drop its leaf and went, oh no, wait. I really am so attached to you. I don't want to let you go. It's not in the nature of nature to hang on to things, is it? I wonder how we got that way. I wonder. Now, we're talking about letting go of that with which we truly are finished. Because there are a few exceptions, you know. If you have something that serves you well, that's wonderful, that you still love, and you've had it for 30 years, like this suit, I kid you not, you keep it, even with the shoulder pads. Because it's a classic, right? And speaking of 30 years, Elise and Michael are going to have their 30th anniversary on tomorrow. Yeah, yay. And neither one of them is ready to release the other one, nor should they. So there are things and there are people that we wish to maintain in our life experience. Yes? Beautiful. So, like last night, we were celebrating our 25th anniversary and 100 years of Science of Mind. And I know we're kind of the new kids on the block where faith communities are concerned, and yet, you know, we're not new in terms of our teaching. The law of circulation has always been taught for centuries. As I said, listen to Lao Tzu, and that was over 6,000 years ago. And this law of circulation in our teaching and before has been quite obvious. Now, in Centers for Spiritual Living, our greater organization, we look back, and those of us who have been in this teaching for as many years as I have and some others of you have, may remember some of the giants in religious science. In fact, last night, when we were listening and watching that wonderful, wonderful video that Mr. Messino, we've got to call him Mr. Messino when he's wearing a sport coat, when he put together, there was Dr. Kennedy Schultz, long since having left the planet, installing Reverend Gwen. And it was, there are giants. There's Ernest Holmes and Robert Bitzer and William Hornaday and Kennedy Schultz and Frank Richelieu and Anita Richelieu and so many. I mean, I could go on, but many people never met them. I met them all. And Stuart Grayson and Raymond Charles Barker. And it was, I'm that old. But we stand on the shoulders of giants because these people came in and they brought their bright lights and they lit us up. And they passed the baton, and we kept going. And then when Reverend Mike and I were in Dallas at the ministers' gathering week before last, here are all these new baby ministers. And it's like there's this beautiful law of circulation where we come and we give our gifts, and we receive our gifts. And then here comes the next crop, and we give our gifts, and we receive our gifts. And it's a beautiful, ongoing circulatory process. And so all the time that all these changes have been made, one organization, two organizations, one organization again, and I was there for all of it. And it's all the changes, all the different iterations of the way we do our centers. There's one thing that's never, ever changed. Nothing, this one thing that has never been abandoned, and that's principle. The outside form changes, but the principle never does. And we have that same principle today, and we utilize it. God is everywhere. The presence of love is available to all of us. The infinite wisdom of God is right where we are, sitting, walking, standing, sleeping, waking. And we have the power to use the power for good. We're co-creators with the infinite. That's pretty amazing. And as soon as we come into these centers and begin to understand what is possible and what's the divine design for all of us, which is to co-create our world in a beautiful way, things begin to change. We find relationships sweeter. We find the creative opportunity called jobs that we're looking for. We attain more peace of mind. We enter into new arenas we never had the courage to do before, perhaps because we didn't know that we're never alone. And so we're developing the faith, we're deepening the faith so that we can release that with which we truly are finished. And we can make way for that which we are ready to embrace. Now, in our own Greater Center for Spiritual Living community, sometimes I think it's really nice not to just say GPCSL. Greater Philadelphia Center for Spiritual Living. And our people. See, we're movers and shakers. We're not people who sit on our hands. If you hadn't noticed, wasn't that wonderful to see the video yesterday of the walls coming down and the scrubbing and the painting and the putting down the carpet, building the stage, all the great things that were done. We don't stay in one place when we're ready to move into a more beautiful one, a more wonderful one that we are co-creating with our own hands and hearts. And then we take our teaching home. We take it into our closets and our drawers, cleaning things out, releasing them. We take it into our thoughts and into our emotions, cleaning out that which no longer serves us. Like, resentment, regret, any of those things that never did serve us, but now we realize how much they do not serve us. We release them, and it's only energy, so we invite that energy to be converted and transformed into, gratitude. There's something kind of wonderful about changing a resentment into gratitude, about changing a regret into thankfulness. So we take our teaching out into the world. We want to see our environment differently. We want to see the people in it differently. So we must be willing to live in this flow. Shouldn't be so hard because it's so natural. It's a universal principle. So we take this home with us. Don't try this at home. Don't try this at home. Don't try at all, Yoda. Instead of making an attempt to free ourselves of clutter or things or ideas that aren't serving us, let's not attempt it. Let's intend it. I want us to move from attempt to intend, because your word is powerful. It's truth on your tongue. And when we speak powerful truth on our tongue, something happens, because we're using the same infinite, creative, intelligent, wise, and wonderful process that the infinite mind of God uses when it is creating all the wonders of the world and the universe. So we need to let go of that which isn't serving us anymore. Anything come to your mind about something that you think you might be willing to release now? That it might somehow behoove you to do so? Behoove you. Have I ever said that here? I may say it again. Rumi says, don't grieve. Everything you lose comes round in another form. We want to co-create a new story. A nobler intention. A more life-affirming idea for ourselves and for the world. The world hath need of us, wouldn't you say? That's why each one of us needs to shine up our light and step up a little higher on that ladder of consciousness and say, I know the truth, I speak the truth, I live the truth, and people around you are going to respond. I don't mean that we're going to go out and preach to them. I don't even preach, or I try not to. And I have a license for it. But just being who you are, just living these principles is going to change the world. As a matter of fact, it's already doing so. You're just not maybe seeing it yet. You may be seeing it in your co-workers. I see people taking this principle into their work situations. There's one right now. There's another one there. When you bring your beautiful self, your shiniest self, your aware, authentic self into your home life, into your work life, into the neighborhood, that's another one. The consciousness of the environment and the people within it changes. It changes. Don't you love being an agent for change? And all you have to do to be that is to be yourself, with a capital S, self. Not an ego thing. It's a God thing. We're stepping into the stream of affluence. You like that? Let go of the shore. So we live with open hands and we live with open hearts. We hold lightly to our good, releasing with ease, receiving with gratitude. You know, everything's just on loan anyway. You're not taking it with you. Did anybody ever tell you that? Let's hold it lightly. Emerson said, as we let our angels go, they only go out that archangels may come in. It's time we stepped up to archangels, which means letting go of those precious, precious things and people in our lives. You know, many of us, probably all of us, at one point or another, have had to say goodbye to a loved one who left the planet. I certainly have. And after the deep grieving that we must do humanly, something else happens. It's like when my beloved Barney, Earl Barnum, passed away. His daughter called me. I used to babysit for her. And she told me the news, and I said, oh, this was my first church in Alamo, California. And I said, well, Barney hasn't been up here for a while. I haven't been in touch with him for a few weeks. And she said, you know, my dad has now just become a big Barney blanket. And I realized what she was saying was true. I didn't have to be 400 miles away. He was right here. I also, when my youngest son passed 5 years ago this month, went through this, imagine the motherly grief. And he's so close to me. It's a big Jeff blanket. And at any moment, I can put my hand on my heart, feel him there. So releasing people to their greatest good, releasing things for perfect circulation, releasing ourselves to be our better selves, to be those change agents who are bringing more light into the world. We have one of our members, in fact, she happens to be the Board of Trustees president, but I'm not going to mention her name. She has created this wonderful image of us as a lighthouse. And I did not know this until she told me that a lighthouse sends out a ping. Did you know that? And as it sends, not just the light, there's a ping. And people respond, the boats, well, the captains of the boats and the crew hear that as well as see the light, and they're drawn to it. We want to keep sending out our ping simply by being who we are, by living these principles, by allowing ourselves to live in the flow. We honor the law of circulation. We become willing instruments of good in every form. So think about the houses you've loved and released. Oh, I have many. And instead of pining for any of them, it just fills my heart with gratitude that all the time I spent in each one was rich and beautiful. And I love where I am right now. There's something quite healthy about giving thanks for what's been in the past and coming fully centered into this dynamic moment. Even the birds. Oh, you should see our birds now. Birds on our deck. We now put 3 different kinds of bird food out, and we get 7 different kinds of birds. Last spring, for the second time, they nested in a flower pot, and we had 4 babies who then flew away. No, we didn't say, oh, please don't fly away. We knew they'd be back. They're back now as adults, and they're already checking out the condos to see where they're going to be creating their nests in the spring. Birds are smarter than we are sometimes, you know? Let's be affluent, shall we? Let's be affluent. And will you say with me, I step into the stream of affluence. I live with open hands, with an open heart, and with an open mind. I believe you, and so, my beloveds, beginneth our lesson.